But we have to ask, will this really provide the physical security blanket that we're suggesting it would for our kids? If you have a bulletproof backpack, would you also need a bulletproof front pack and a bulletproof helmet to go along with it? And does that send that message to your kid that every time you step out of the house, you're at risk?
Does this also, trying to sell parents a false sense of security?
I think this is a great idea. Having done a lot in the prosecution and law enforcement world working with schools, I understand what your guest is indicating here. However, if there ever were an active shooter scenario, they could certainly get to those backpacks because seconds matter. And we all have the thing that we tell them, that you should run and that you should hide, you should fight, you should call. This gives them an opportunity to be able to do those things. Now, your guest indicated that you would have to wear a helmet, would you have to wear other things? Well, police officers wear center mass protection. And if you train these kids that, God forbid, there were an active shooter scenario, you would be able to teach them how to center mass protect themselves. And I think it's really important to create a culture as a force multiplier to the training that we're giving for active shooter scenarios with kids. Why not have an added layer of protection?
So there you go. There's the argument for it, Kenneth. Is it something that, if presented properly to kids, would not scare them and could offer that extra protection?
Well, I think your guest brings up a key point there. There's a comparison between adult-trained, certified police officers who train their entire career, and there's a difference between a child-oriented setting, age and developmental issues, a state where children, by brain research today, do not have the executive function of the brain develop until their mid-20s for people. So we're suggesting we're going to have kids make decisions that adults have hit and miss success for on traffic stops in the back of a local city, I think is unrealistic. Plus, if we're suggesting it in 8 seconds or fewer in a lockdown in a school situation, having worked with schools for more than 30 years, the goal is to get students and staff away from harm's way. You get into an area where you try to secure the doors, and most importantly, you keep the kids quiet. And to have them rumbling around the rooms trying to get to a cubby, or in many cases, the backpacks aren't even in the rooms, they're in the hallways, isn't really practical in terms of how schools work on a day-to-day basis. It's well intended, but I'd say it's not quite well thought out.
I see you shaking your head, Bob. I'll let you respond.
Yeah, he brings up a good point about it may not be practical given how they deal with backpacks today, but that doesn't mean that you can't train. I remember, I go back to the day, Erica, when we were trained on how to get underneath the desk and how to escort ourselves out, single file, against the wall, when we were being told there could be a nuclear bomb that could explode. We have to be realistic and create a culture of safety, and these kids need to start being trained at a young age to know that they're not vulnerably perilous, that they have options, and this is one of them.
Bob Bianchi, Kenneth Trump, it is an important discussion, and one I think a lot of people, certainly myself until I saw the story, hadn't thought about. Appreciate both of you bringing your expertise. Thank you.